Longford town is situated in the North Midlands of Ireland in the province of Leinster. The town has a population of approximately 10,000 people and serves as the provincial capital of a rural and largely agricultural county of the same name. The military site is central to the history and development of the town. It was in this area that the O'Farrells, the local Gaelic lords, built a fortress, or in Irish, Longfort, probably in the late 1200s. The fortress gave the town its name. For most of its history, Longford town had a fortification, or military barracks, located on the north bank of the River Camlin. The more modern barracks, established in the late 1700s, covered a substantial area and was bounded to the south by Church Street, where the main entrance is. In 1922, with the establishment of the Irish state, it was transferred from British to Irish control and named after Sean Connolly, a local leader of the War of Independence. The barracks has always been associated with cavalry units. It was home to the 4th Cavalry Squadron from 1972. The cavalry were an active service unit, carrying out border patrol duty throughout the Northern Ireland Troubles and participating in UN peacekeeping missions abroad. The barracks was closed down in 2009. Many of the soldiers who stationed in the barracks settled down in Longford and remained living in the town after they retired.
Well, I came here in March '73 and I was here for 36 years. I enjoyed my time here at Longford. Maybe not at the start, getting used to things and that, but by the time we left, it was like a family.
Essentially, it was a very, very busy unit, and there was long periods of duty for the people who were here. Now, it must never be forgot that the people here also, we had a life outside the barracks where you had your wife and kids, and they essentially supported us in everything we were doing. Now, I suppose they were a bit annoyed when we were away from them for so long, but certainly in all the period we've been here, the wives and the children of all the members of the barracks, they supported us in everything we were doing, even though there were long hours of duty.
It was a very sad day. I remember the last day that we left. I was the last on duty. I was on duty on the gate for the last one. And I remember that day well, like it was a very sad day for Longford, and there was people down there, hundreds of people in the barracks, a lot of them were in tears, you know.
The barracks during its history has been closed for many times, and here we are again where it's closed and unoccupied. But I feel that all the people who served here during the period I was here are very proud of the service they gave and feel that they gave the state some service.
Years ago, Conley Barracks in this area of town would have been a hive of activity. There would have been an active military barracks here, there would have been people working, living and spending in Longford town. So from that point of view, it generated income for people, there was an energy around the place, and once the barracks closed, that energy died with it, and it left an area of town then that became run down. We then had the neighbouring shopping centre that was developed at the end of the boom times, the Celtic Tiger times in Longford, never opened. So then you had two major developments within the same area of town that weren't open, that weren't alive, that weren't bringing people to the town. And it then brought down the level of energy, it brought down the level of confidence in our own ability to actually do something with the barracks.
We needed to create an awareness, I suppose, of the existing potential and any future potential as regards cultural, economic and I know potential for the creative side of it up there. We also needed to have a project or come together with a project that could possibly be transformational for Longford Town. With the right vision and with the right development, that could be something that would be, as synonymous with Longford Town down the road as St Mel's Cathedral itself.
It's owned by Longford County Council, and for Longford County Council and a town and a county the size of Longford, it would be a significant challenge to develop it into a sustainable project.
I suppose the main challenge was identifying the use of the site in a sustainable way, and that was empathetic to the military heritage of the site.
We needed to be sensitive to I suppose the needs of the people of Longford Town. We had to be aware of the cultural significance, the historical significance of that site and that particular military site there.
And I suppose another challenge would be the modernisation of the buildings on site and the cost element involved in that.
Some of the buildings are in a state of repair, and significant amounts of money would be required to really return them to their former glory.
There's a limited amount of finance for most things under government funding, so that probably is the largest challenge. A, what we're going to do, and B, how we're going to pay for it.
Well, I suppose obviously the setting up of a working group was the most important element of it, because that would be very important to the success of the project. So the ULG was set up, and the sectoral and community interests were identified to work with the local authority members and the local authority executive in setting up a working group.
Well, initially when Connolly Barracks was purchased by Longford County Council, there was a Connolly Barracks subcommittee that were set up, and they were mainly representing arts, culture and heritage. There would have been people who had a vision for Connolly Barracks that it could become a museum location for the town and for the county. And the main question there, first of all, would have been funding, and secondly, how would you make it sustainable? That group then morphed into a regeneration group here in Longford in the council. It involved a number of stakeholders, but it was mainly elected members who were involved in that. Then we became involved with the URBACT MAPS programme, and as a result of that, there was a requirement to develop a local area plan for Connolly Barracks, and the ULG formed out of that.
In 2016, local parties interested in the redevelopment of the site became involved in a European project under the URBACT 3 framework. The project, titled MAPS, Military Assets as Public Spaces, sought to bring together urban centres that were attempting to regenerate disused military assets. The purpose of the project was to come together to share expertise, experiences and develop guidelines for leading practices in the redevelopment of military spaces for civic and public gain. A number of transnational visits took place, including one to the Longford site.
So in terms of what's been done, a large number of groups were consulted as to their ideas, and there have been numerous initiatives over the years, and particularly over the last year. Obviously we have the ULG efforts, and so that's involved, I suppose, talking, reflecting, discussions, and trying to formulate some ideas as to what's important to the community, and then how could we actually activate that.
We needed to come together with a process that would be participative and collaborative, that everybody would become involved and that would be attractive for people to become involved in it as well. I suppose we were using the premise of 3 A's, and the 3 A's were that it should be accessible, it should be attractive, and it should be adaptive as it goes along. So our goals were to create a unity of vision for the site, and to create a base platform where we could work from to attract further European funding and further national funding to develop the vision that would emerge from this project. So far through the project, we would have a baseline study on the site itself and on the environs of the site, and we also have a survey, a condition survey done on the 18-acre site, and done on the barracks itself, on the building. So that will inform what we can and can't do with the site.
It may be possible in conjunction and maybe in partnership with other organisations to develop it ourselves. and that's something that the local area plan and the ULG group will have a lot of work and a lot of involvement in, because if we were able to do it ourselves with the assistance of European funding, it would be a fantastic win for the town.
The development and finalisation of an integrated action plan with a strategy involved, obviously, and then a monitoring policy by both the ULG and the local authority for the implementation of that IAP. And of course, it also feeds into a policy of the Council in relation to the development of the northern quarter here and the regeneration of this end of Longford Town.
The problems that we encountered at the beginning of the project were people were coming from different perspectives and people with different visions for the site. I suppose through collaboration and through involvement and through consultation through the period of the project, we came together at the end of it with a shared vision for the site, and the problems became opportunities.
Another challenge was getting the right interested parties involved in the project. So we needed to make sure that all areas and all stakeholders were involved and participated fully in the process.
But at the same time, the identification and engagement of an active group of people with a strategic vision, if you like, for the site, because that's very, very important that those involved would have a vision for the site. Caused a little bit of problem in the beginning, but I think we all got our act together in the end and it worked out very well.
So the solutions that we adopted to tackle those problems was using the collaborative approach, getting everybody to share the same vision for the site, and I suppose every stakeholder had the good of Longford town at heart, and it was easy to convince them to all face the same way, and I think everybody is all facing the same way now, and it's onwards and upwards.
I think the solution is to make sure that all options are considered and are considered against the criteria that were set by the elected members, and that to me would be very important. I think there has to be an openness to all opportunities and all possibilities. I think there has to be honesty in the engagement, there has to be transparency in the decision-making process, and that to me is really important to ensure that the community and also the citizens of the county engage whatever decision and support it, because if we don't have their support, this will never fly.
Well, I suppose, look, it's not completed as yet, but there has been a very succinct scoping exercise done, and there's a strategy which will contain achievable objectives and actions. And then, of course, after that, the main thing will be identifying who delivers these and where the funding is going to come from, because that is all going to be so crucial to the success of the project.